Well, you saw the title of the episode. You knew you would get Rickrolled. But I bet you didn't think you'd get Rickrolled in the first few seconds. What do we call that in baseball, Frank?
Well, it's kind of the opposite of a walk-off home run. It's a walk-on home run,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. You walk onto the field and you just crank one out of the park. I think that's what we did.
That's a great... We clearly haven't played much baseball.
No, we haven't. No.
Well, I'm really excited about this episode. And disclaimer, I always say I'm really excited about the episode.
Well, you're an excitable person.
I am.
So that's
And before we go on, apologies to Ian McGlynn, our friend who made our excellent theme music. Don't you worry, Ian. You'll be getting lots of airtime in the future.
Yeah, but I think honestly that once you've been Rickrolled, I think you've made it to the big time. Yeah. So maybe he should be thanking us.
Ian, welcome to the big time.
Yeah. Now, we essentially Rickrolled ourselves. So did we just put ourselves into the big time here or what?
Frank, welcome to the big time.
Bill, enjoy your time in the big time.
Thank you. Well, this album that we're talking about today means a lot to me. Now, we're going to talk about, of course, the song, but the album itself is a big deal to me. This is the first album I ever purchased. I purchased this in grade 5, and this was just after I started watching music videos. Basically, my entry into adolescence.
Yeah. So this is Rick Astley is your Corey Hart.
Yes.
And that's a throwback to previous episodes. So if you don't get that reference, you need to listen to all of our episodes now and understand where this is coming from.
I'm sure our listeners appreciate the hyperlink.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
We also I got a comment earlier today from our friend Mike Spectaculish. That is
Is that a pseudonym?
That's a pseudonym.
Okay.
He mentioned that our music sensibilities never really moved past 4th grade.
I think that's fairly accurate, yes.
Yeah. Pretty close, Mike Spectaculish. But I'd say around grade 5 might be where I peaked in my music sensibilities.
Well, that's when you would have bought this tape, right?
That's correct. So I remember buying this, and I would read over the lyrics, and I would try to get to know even the deeper tracks on the tape.
Well, the album it's a 10-song album, but there were 5 big singles off the album.
Yes.
It's batting 500 if I can go back to a baseball reference here. We talk a lot about baseball without understanding it.
Yeah.
So I think that's sort of a metaphor for guilt-free pleasures. Also, we talk about metaphors without understanding how metaphors work.
Yeah. I should know.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we start with a little history of our friend Rick?
Yeah. Let's jump into Rick's life.
Born, all right, I really should have looked closer. Born at some point in the 60s.
66.
So, okay, born in 1966.
I have his Wikipedia page open here.
Oh, so. Perfect. He started out in church choir, is that right, Frank?
Yeah. He started off in the church choir, and that's kind of where he developed his voice and his sound, I would say.
And then he had a band when he was in high school called FBI.
Yeah, and he didn't start off as the lead singer. He started back on the kit. He was a drummer to start off.
And this makes perfect sense because I don't know if I've ever said this on the podcast, but my favorite singer is Phil Collins.
Yes.
So this makes sense that Rick Astley really was he's my first entry point into the world of pop music on my own. But Phil Collins was waiting. And so this is sort of he has his own Phil Collins moves. So it just makes sense that I would be interested in a person who was a drummer then singer.
Yes. Yeah. Much like exactly what Phil did with Genesis there.
Yeah. Okay. So Waterman from Stock Aitken Waterman discovers him when he's in FBI.
Yes.
And then signs him to a contract. Sorry, members of FBI, you did not get signed. And then...
the group was kind of falling apart at that point, weren't they?
I think so, yeah. He was a shy young man, so they had him work the tapes and make sandwiches for people.
Yeah, he was kind of the kind of the intern at the studio, right? Just sort of learning the biz a bit.
Not really impressed with Waterman for doing that, or Stock, or Aiken.
Yeah.
Or Saw, as they like to be known as. Because if I've had a young talent who needed to grow, I don't think I'd get them to make sandwiches. I don't think that helps the voice.
No, you would think that it would actually have the opposite effect. You eat the sandwich and, those little pieces of bread are stuck in your throat and you get some weird tones and vocal intonations or whatever. Is that the direction you were going with that comment?
Not at all. I just thought maybe fetching tea, being a tea fetcher boy wasn't quite what Rick Astley was meant for.
Yeah. Well, obviously he wasn't. I mean, or else he'd probably be a professional tea fetcher right now.
Yeah. So that brings us to the big single, "Never Going to Give You Up."
Yeah, so he recorded the album, "Whenever You Need Somebody," and first single, first track, "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Bit of a walk-on home run, wouldn't you say?
Another walk-on home run. We're batting 1,000 for walk-on home runs here, I think.
Huge hit.
If one of our listeners can explain baseball to us, that would be really helpful, I think.
This was the number one selling single in the UK that year.
Yeah, in 1987.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It crossed over here, was number one in the US, not in Canada, surprisingly, but number one in the US as well.
Yes. Yeah. And this sort of launched Rick Astley onto the scene.
Mm-hmm.
And this was again, we're talking 87, so it was pre-internet, so you couldn't just sort of search out who Rick Astley was. And from what I understand, a lot of people were shocked when they finally saw what Rick Astley looked like. His appearance didn't reconcile with his voice.
There was a concern that it could have been a Milli Vanilli thing.
Yeah.
Now, of course, this is before Milli Vanilli, from my own recollection.
Yeah.
But there was some talk that they thought someone else was singing.
Yeah. You look at Rick Astley and you think, man doesn't have that kind of a voice, but man, does he have a voice.
He does.
Blue-eyed soul.
That's right.
I think that's the best way to describe Rick Astley and his voice.
Is he the greatest redhead singer?
Oh, another redhead singer. I can't think of one right off the top of my head.
Except when you do karaoke.
Well, yeah. When I used to do karaoke, I'm a little gray now, folks. Not rocking the red locks anymore.
Yeah. So this song the production of the song is pretty interesting. So I learned something this week that I did not know.
What's that?
I listened to an interview with Mike Stock on a podcast, and he explained that when they wrote it, said it's a tricky line to sing, where he says, "Never gonna give you up." I'll play it right now.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you.
Now, what you're gonna notice there is that he goes through that pretty quickly. "I'm never gonna give you up." And if you try singing it, it's difficult. And the reason it's difficult is that it's impossible. What they did is they had him go into the studio and he just sang, "Never gonna, never gonna, never gonna." And then he sang, "Give you up." And they spliced it together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's why it can go so quickly. But it doesn't seem like it to the ear. It's like, oh, he's just singing it quickly.
Yeah.
But if you think about how low he's going and then jumping up,
Yeah.
they've actually spliced it together so it would work.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
Now, I've watched a couple of live performances of his. He pulls it off in live, though, doesn't he?
Well, this is what I'm wondering about. So some of the performances are definitely lip sung. Not many.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was a live one I watched where it sounded like he was actually singing it.
Yeah.
But by the end of the vocal, like it should be the end, and he's got the microphone away from him, and they're kind of like, it's kind of ending. People are clapping. Then he grabs the mic and puts it back to his mouth to sing this final moment. And so someone on YouTube said he's lip syncing because he's trying to hide the fact that it's actually a track over top of it or something.
Oh, okay.
So, but when you see him live now, when
Yeah.
he's singing in concert with the various people, he does it.
Yeah.
He's definitely not. But those early ones,
Yeah.
there was There was more lip syncing, but he still had that voice.
Yeah. Now, do you think that, I mean, obviously a more mature and seasoned Rick Astley is pulling that off right now, but maybe it was a case that the producers didn't have enough confidence or faith in him that he could do that?
I agree. That definitely must be the case because he did leave them after 2 albums.
Yes. Yeah.
And named that album that he was done with them, he called it Free.
Yeah.
So we know, and he said he didn't want to be a puppet anymore.
Yeah. Which is a little bit ironic. And again, we use terms that we don't know how they work here, considering he looked a lot like Howdy Doody.
That's true. He did. He's so clean cut.
Oh, I know, right?
It's such perfect music for a grade 5 student to me. And and Mike Stock was saying this in the podcast as well. He was kind of lamenting the fact that the music that's out today isn't as accessible to kids. He said all the stuff they pretty much put out under the Stock, Aitken, Waterman was something kids could listen to.
Yeah.
And so now you have music. He said around in the 90s, the music changed. And so it was no longer accessible to kids like it used to be.
Yeah.
And so Rick Astley was totally something parents would be like, oh, this is safe.
Yeah.
And it's totally safe.
Yeah. It's pretty, I don't want to say it's vanilla, but it's something that's very, it's completely safe that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah. So it's a bit like a family movie night. This is family music night.
Yeah. Rick Astley is a Hallmark movie.
There's our category.
Yeah.
Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play it.
What makes you come back to this song? We both love this song, but what makes you come back to this?
It's funny too, because I liked Rick Astley a lot growing up as well. Actually, I think I'm the only person that I know that owned his 3rd album, Free.
Yes.
And I listened to Rick Astley a lot, like kind of growing up. And then, when I became a sullen teenager and moody and all that sort of stuff, I stopped listening to a lot of pop music. So I stopped listening to Rick Astley. And then the explosion, the whole Rickroll phenomenon when it came on in like 2008 or whatever, sort of reintroduced me to the song and my love for Rick Astley and his music. Favorite part of the song, like it kind of sort of rejogged my memory about how amazing he is and how amazing this song is. It's tough to say. The song is essentially, it's just on repeat, right? Yeah. But it just the way that the song works, I think it's probably towards the end. There's a bit of a bridge when he just goes into never gonna give you up, never gonna give you up. I think that's my sort of like, that just makes me smile every single time I hear it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that too.
And I want to point out to the members at Stock, Aikens, Waterman that I just sang that, and I'm not even Rick Astley. So you guys should have had more faith in the man.
Are you ready to make some tea and biscuits for them?
Yes.
Never gonna give, never gonna give. Never gonna give.
My favorite part is when it seems to go to like a quasi drums only. What's the line here? We've known each other for so long, your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. I think they go back to that, but it's just with the drums.
Yeah.
So it means that even more. And then they go back to that chorus.
We've known each other for so long. Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it. Inside we both know what's been going on. We know the game and we're gonna play it.
Because of when it came out, the music video is directly linked to when you hear it, you see the music video. I love that music video.
Well, it has the guy running up the wall and doing the backflip, right?
Yeah.
Like that was groundbreaking. That's parkour like 20 years before parkour was a thing.
And he turns to the camera and then leans his head to the side. Like there's this move he does. I've watched it so many times.
Yeah.
And there's the Rick Astley dance.
Yes.
Which is just great. And I was remembering that when I was a kid, I tried to imitate that dance.
Yeah.
And I like to think I've kind of pulled it off or have pulled it off.
I've seen you dance at weddings before. I think you've done it. You do a pretty good rendition of it.
Yeah, so it's hands side to side, move and shake the legs a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much
And
it.
he's wearing like a duster in the video, right? Like it's
He is.
the 3/4 length jacket,
Yeah.
or even I would say even longer than that, maybe 7/8.
So the way they made the music video is because it's so cheap. He just brought a bag of his own clothes.
Oh, serious?
And yeah, so none of those clothes that he had on were things that someone sponsored.
Yeah,
they were his clothes.
It's just his. He's just rocking his own wardrobe there.
Yeah, and that trench coat ended up flying away that year while he was in Ireland.
Oh, really?
Performing. Some kids grabbed his jacket or something, and said it just flew into the air and it literally just flew off into the distance.
Yeah.
So that's the story there. I learned this all on pop-up video, I think.
Oh, okay.
Also, the guy who ran up the wall, he was so hungover from partying the night before that he just lay down and slept on a billiard table for most of the day.
Yeah, I think I remember reading that on pop-up video as well.
So that I feel that's it's not my favorite Rick Astley video, but that was from that album.
From that album, yeah. And the album had like we said, there's 5 big singles from the album, which all performed really well. But obviously, most people know "Never Gonna Give You Up" because of the whole Rickroll phenomenon. Right. I would say that the next single, I like the song better personally.
Right. So now in the UK, the next single was, I think, "Whenever You Need Somebody," but we're gonna focus on the US one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to that because I'm with you on this.
Yeah. So the next single was "Together Forever."
Yeah.
This song was kind of my introduction to Rick Astley, because the first time I can really remember hearing it, I was at a family wedding, and the song came on, and I remember like my aunts going crazy about it on the dance floor, and I remember listening to this song and I say like, you know what? This kid's got chops. I think this kid's gonna make it. I think there's something funny about an 11-year-old saying that.
Yeah,
20-year-old is like calling him kid, right? So no, that was my first introduction into Rick Astley, and I heard the song and just like, this is fantastic. I need to hear more from this guy.
Mm-hmm. It's the video was very bright for this one too. I remember lots of the colors kept changing in it, and he was talking to some girl on the phone the whole time, a woman on the phone the whole time.
Yeah, but it's kind of like a standard 80s video, right?
Yeah.
Like there's like him talking on the phone while singing on the phone, but then there's also shots of like him and background dancers / singers like singing in a line, and kind of that standard 80s video.
It is really similar to "Never Gonna Give You Up" in terms of lyrical content, but there is a little difference. "Never Gonna Give You Up" could be sung a little bit differently, and it would sound like a creepy song. So if you think, just going back, I'm going to jump between them, but "Never Gonna Give You Up." So I'm going to read it differently. Let's say it was a spoken word song instead of a song. Let's say it was a spoken word poem instead of a song. "We're no strangers to love. You know the rules. So do I. Full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy."
I read something that "you wouldn't get this from any other guy" sounds like something a used car salesman would say.
Yes.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. Our full commitment's what I'm thinking of. You wouldn't get this from any other guy.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Never gonna run around and desert you. Never gonna make you cry. Never going to say goodbye. So I almost feel like it could be one of those things where it's the creepy guy next door. Now, "Together Forever," though, is a much brighter song.
Yes, yeah.
And this one, "If there's anything you need, all you have to do is say, you know you satisfy everything in me. We shouldn't waste a single day."
Yeah.
So I think this is a perfect wedding song.
These are vows.
Yeah, exactly. And the current thing to do is for people to use Never Gonna Give You Up as their vows. But this is the one to use as your vows.
Yeah.
And it has this sort of like together, it's never gonna give you up, together forever. So same idea. But this one at least feels a little more like the two of them are on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If there's anything you need, all you have to do is say, know you satisfy everything in me. You shouldn't waste a single day.
You stopped right before probably my favorite part of the song, which again, it's a walk-on home run. But the next sort of stanza in the song is so don't stop me falling, it's destiny calling, a power I just can't deny. It's never changing. Can't you hear me? I'm saying I want you for the rest of my life.
So don't stop me falling, it's destiny calling, a power I just can't deny. It's never changing, can't you hear me? I'm saying I want you for the rest of my life.
Well, there you go. This is the song for a wedding.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and well, that's where I heard it. Perfect setting.
This is also my misheard lyrics. I thought it was so don't stop before then, it's destiny calling. But it makes a lot more sense and it rhymes. Don't stop me falling.
Yeah.
It's destiny calling.
He's falling in love, Bill.
Yeah. And they don't want to waste any time. They want to get married.
Yep.
Forever. Be together forever.
Together forever.
Together forever and never to pass. Together forever we two. And don't you know I would move heaven and earth to be together forever with you. Together forever and never to pass. Together forever we two. And don't you know I would move heaven.
Okay, yeah. The tough thing with this song is I don't know a lot to say about it. It's so bright. It's so fun to listen to. And it just kind of repeats itself. It's kind of a typical stock Aiken Waterman thing.
Yeah, it was very. They had a definite sort of process when it came to putting together pop songs.
Yeah, and some go better than others. There's some that sound like so on this album. You can hear the sort of opening drum fill or drum loop or whatever they use that they've used on a lot of their songs. Mm-hmm. But these two in particular, Never Gonna Give You Up, Together Forever, just have a punch to them.
Yeah. They came out swinging with these singles, that's for sure.
And hit those home runs. And so, yeah, I don't like. I wish I could give this more airtime, but I really just I can't say it.
No, it's just such a likable song.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to number three.
Before we jump into the third sort of really big single from the album, we should probably also let the listeners know of what the other two singles were on this album. And there was actually a little bit of a controversy or competition going around the one because he did a cover of Nat Cole's "When I Fall in Love." Mm-hmm. And when they released it, there's a big Christmas single competition in the UK.
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
Yeah. Okay. So When I Fall in Love, it was on the Christmas UK Christmas #1. Mm-hmm. So it was battling against the Pet Shop Boys, Always on My Mind, and Pet Shop Boys were on EMI, who held the rights to the original Nat Cole song, When I Fall in Love. So in a strategic move, EMI re-released the Nat Cole version of When I Fall in Love.
Wow.
And then, so to take votes away from Rick Astley. So the Pet Shop Boys won the UK Christmas singles contest that year. And some might call it dirty pool. Some might call it, just a tactical move by EMI. But personally, I think Rick Astley was hosed.
Now, if you were to compare those two, what do you prefer? Always on My Mind by Pet Shop Boys or When I Fall in Love by Rick Astley? I think I would also choose Always on My Mind. I really like their cover.
Yeah. But I think Rick Astley had so much momentum at the time because of this huge album.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen like a proper head to head between these songs without that little maneuver by EMI there, just to see who would have won. I think that the momentum of this album would have pushed Rick Astley over the top, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough, like when you watch a pro wrestling match where the one person needs to use a steel chair or a foreign object to win.
Yeah.
When we really just wanted to see the test of strength.
Yes. Yeah.
I liked it when I Fall in Love. I felt like of all the songs on that album, that one kind of gave us a real window into his voice.
Yes.
In terms of, it's not, I think I should ask Ashley, it might be overdone, but I felt like it was a little more, like he didn't go over the top in his singing, but you could just get a sense of how strong his vocals were.
Yes.
And I thought it was a pretty nice cover. They didn't overdo it. They kept it simple.
No, I thought it was a really well done cover. Yeah.
And quite a pretty video with the snow falling.
Yeah.
And all whatever else I remember from it.
When I fall in love, it will be forever, or I'll never fall in love.
Yeah, so there was Together Forever, Never Gonna Give You Up, When I Fall in Love, and then Whenever You Need Somebody.
Right.
That was another single off the album, which did fairly well.
Yeah.
For itself. But then I'm gonna say the hidden gem on the album, or the hidden gem of the singles that were released, it would take a strong man, which not necessarily my favorite song on the album, but I think it's an often overlooked song. I think an overlooked single. I think it should have done better than it did. It's a great little song.
My heart starts aching, my hands keep shaking, and you know, it would take a strong man to ever let you go, to ever let you go.
Reached number 10 on the Billboard, which I forget about that it did that well.
Yeah.
'Cause it just kind of disappeared off the radio.
It was number 1 in Canada.
Oh, right. I remember that video too. He's singing, looking wistfully at the girl he's with. I can't tell in the video if they're having troubles like they are in the song. They're like, all right, is he upset? They seem all right.
Yeah.
She likes to dance.
Yeah.
You know, with other guys, I guess, kind of. I don't think she was. Was she in the video?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but Rick Astley likes it. He has his little dance.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he keeps dancing.
Yeah. But I just want to say something here that Canadians like Rick Astley.
They do. Yeah, he's done quite well here.
Yeah.
And this one, he goes for it with his voice, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll kind of give that opening, my heart starts breaking.
Yes.
And he goes just a little, he just brings that sort of, I don't want to say phlegmy, but guttural. What does that sound? My heart starts breaking. No, that's not how it goes.
The Kermit voice?
That's not. I'll let Rick sing it here.
Yeah.
I keep thinking maybe tomorrow I'm gonna let you know.
In some ways, I feel like if we could get a version of it, I think there needs to be a version of this song where he can really let loose on the vocal.
Mm-hmm.
I feel they really were holding him back, even though he goes for it.
Yeah.
But there's something lacking in it. But I think within that song is an even better song waiting to come out.
Yeah.
Thematically, I'm just thinking this when I was driving over because I listened to all the songs while I was on my way over to the Winchester. Mm-hmm. Never Gonna Give You Up. Well, title says it all.
Yeah.
I'm never going to give you up. I'm never going to let you down. You know, this is what he's promising. Next one, Together Forever. I'm going to be with you forever and ever and ever depart. And then Strong Man is I can't let you go. It would take a really strong man to let you go. But boy, I should let you go, but I'll never let you go.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Rick, see, this is the flip side. You promised to stay. Now I don't know if it's buyer's remorse, but before it's like, wow, you're so powerful. You'll never leave her. And I'm like, oh, you're so weak. You'll never leave her.
They're all the same story in the Astley verse.
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
We've been chided previously for not exploring the Lionel verse. So I think whenever there's a universe of songs out there, I think we need to talk a little bit more about them as opposed to just let it slide by.
Yeah. So within the Astley verse, these are the big three.
Yeah.
And I think future singles kind of lead to this. At least "Cry for Help," I think, could kind of come into "Strong, Strong Man."
Yeah. I think that's the logical kind of follow up to this, even though it's there's an album in between the two.
Yeah.
But "Cry for Help," and that was I mean, we can talk about that album or that song at a later date.
Yeah,
but that was
I think that's our part 2.
Yeah, just to so people who don't know about the song or the album is Free, and that was his sort of coming out as a mature artist. Grew his hair long, looked like me when I was in high school. It was but it was like a more mature Rick Astley, less pop, a little more soul, a little more AC.
Yeah. And I guess listeners don't know, because this, of course, is a podcast and our cover is just a pink cover with a blue tape. But Frank and Rick Astley, of course, are nearly identical.
Yeah, I would say that we're spiritual twins.
Yeah. He's your spirit animal?
Well, no, that's Carly Rae Jepsen.
Right.
But he would be my celebrity doppelganger, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
At times, I think we looked very similar.
Yeah.
And if anyone goes to the 1996 yearbook from Niagara District and sees my graduation picture, and then looks at Rick Astley circa 1994, you'll see some definite similarities.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your favorite part about the song? It would take a strong, strong man.
Well, my favorite part is it's the instrumental part with the guitar, and I don't know if it's like flamenco-ish.
Yeah.
But there's a point where there's like a guitar solo in it, and it's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then it leads back into the chorus.
Yeah.
When he says, "I think about leaving, I think about losing." So that's my favorite part. And I feel like that's where it's like, I'm hooked. It's got the heartstrings.
Yeah, I think lyrically, my favorite part, it's the lead into the chorus. It's like, my heart starts aching, my hands start shaking, and you know. And when you say it 3 times, it has a certain gravity to it.
There's another song that has you know a lot. Maybe he's calling out "Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone."
Oh, maybe.
I just thought of that.
Yeah, good connection.
Yeah.
Did Bill Withers and Rick Astley collaborate?
The Astley Witherverse collides, creates a new galaxy.
I would pay money to produce an album of duets between Rick Astley and Bill Withers.
Feel like the Natalie Cole album.
Yeah.
That's good. Should we talk about Rickrolling?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of glossed over it, but it was such a huge cultural phenomenon, right?
So it starts around 2007. It comes out of 4chan, which I always thought was just I don't want to be on 4chan. I just assume it's just dangerous things that go on in there.
Yeah.
Can you access that from your regular internet browser?
I don't know. I think you need to be on the dark web or something, right?
So it came out of like a joke about duck rolling, where they put a picture of a duck in, but then someone decided to have links that went to Rick Astley, but to this song.
Yeah.
And then from there, it kind of just blew up into the culture. And by 2008 was peak Rickrolling.
Yes. Yeah.
It still happens now a bit, but I played this song for my class today while they were working. Mm-hmm. And no one kind of snickered or anything or talked about Rickrolling. There was one kid who was singing along, but because they all had masks on, I couldn't figure out who. So I did the walk around the class. Yeah. And he or she never revealed herself.
Like I said, the phenomenon was so big that in 2008, Rick Astley was nominated for the Best Act Ever award at the MTV Europe Music Awards, and he won.
Yeah, that's right. So millions of people voted for him.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's a stat that said like 18 million people were Rickrolled in 2008 in the US or something like that.
Yeah. Well, Rick Astley himself was Rickrolled.
Oh, that's so meta.
Yeah, I know, right?
People know what a Rickroll is because we Rickrolled at the beginning of this, but the whole idea is that if you get a link and you click on it, and then when I got Rickrolled, I was worried they were like stealing my information, but then I realized it was just someone messing with me.
Yeah.
But you have to shut your whole computer down because you're stuck. Like I couldn't get out of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was one of those things. Every time I clicked on it, it kept saying, no, keep listening. But our joke we've made before about this is I got so angry that 15 minutes later, after listening to the song, I closed my computer. Yeah. Because the idea of being Rickrolled, it's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. Because the song is awesome.
Yeah.
Never gonna give, never gonna give. Never gonna give, never gonna give.
What is your favorite Rickroll moment? Can you think of
This is so long ago that
it is.
I can't remember when
There's a couple that I tried to follow them. None of them were too. I saw one where a kid got really angry on YouTube, and it was pretty good. But there was when the Padres played the Boston Red Sox. The Padres on their stadium, they put out "Sweet Caroline," what the Red Sox fans love, and so people were kind of singing at this sort of olive branch, and they were singing along with it.
Yeah,
and then they threw in "Never Gonna Give You Up" midway through. The point when it should have been when everyone's ready to sing "Sweet Caroline."
Yeah, probably that point.
Yeah,
right?
As soon as everyone's ready and they're like ready to sing the chorus, it's "Never Gonna Give You Up" comes on, and so
that's fantastic.
It was like, oh, my absolute favorite Rickroll.
Yeah,
is Melania Trump's speech at the Republican National Convention,
where
whoever wrote her speech ended up inadvertently quoting "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Which is fantastic because she probably wouldn't have picked up on the reference at all.
Not at all. So here, I'll play it for you right now.
Yeah.
If you want someone to fight for you and your country, I can assure you, he's the guy. He will never, ever give up.
Never gonna give you up.
He will never, ever let you down.
Never gonna let you down.
So who knew that Trumps were big Rick Astley fans?
Yeah, I wonder if Rick Astley is a big Trump fan.
They can't.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. So we got that. That was what I wanted to make sure I got to that.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get to categories, there's more to say, isn't there?
Well, you have I'm going to say almost a personal connection to Rick Astley.
Yes. What my mother-in-law said he was, she did not give a favorable review about him as a person.
Yeah, because she came from the same town as him, right?
Yeah, so he's Lancashire.
Yes.
But she's Warrington.
Oh, okay.
But I think they're close.
Well, I would think so.
Yeah, we better double check that because we have UK people listening.
Yeah. As bad as we are at baseball, we're even worse at geography, so.
All right, I'm going to go and put Warrington and Lancashire. Let's try spelling this.
Let's Google Maps that. See what the distance is between the two.
Yeah, 56 minutes.
56 minutes.
That's not too far away.
No, so it's 56 minutes. So it's close enough that a bad reputation can follow you.
Yeah. So should we say the word she called him? No, I don't know.
What did she call him?
A knob.
And if you ask me how I'm feeling, don't tell me you're too blind to see. Never gonna give you up.
So she said he's not known to be a good guy in terms of like that he's a bit full of himself was what they were saying.
Well, you got a voice like that. I think you have reason to strut.
And then it was seconded by her cousin who still lives in Warrington.
Oh, okay.
And then I reached out to a friend of mine, not related to any of them, who's from Warrington. And he refused to acknowledge that Rick Astley exists.
Oh.
He said, I've never heard of him, which is impossible.
No, that's impossible. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming there could be fights between their soccer clubs.
Probably. I think that's probably what it comes down to. I think they're just football goons.
Yeah. And everything I see about Rick Astley in his interviews and just from decisions he's made I just can't see him being
A bad person.
a bad person.
No.
He seems like the type of guy who should and will hopefully be hanging with us here at the Winchester.
At the Winchester, yeah. The Rick Astley Tiny Pub concert. Again, this is a series that will happen. When it happens, we're not sure, but it will happen at the Winchester.
The big question is, can that huge voice be handled by such a tiny pub?
No, we'd have to open the windows.
Or break down some walls?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I feel we've covered... We didn't talk about him retiring or anything, and that would be episode 2. Or would we talk about it now?
Well, yeah, because it happened after Free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move through some categories.
Yeah, let's hit up.
Okay, I got a couple here. So let's go with your mixtape.
You know, I really have to start preparing for this because I never do.
Should we give you some time to think? Like I didn't have any the last time, but I have a bunch ready.
Well, right now I'm thinking and just like, well, you put these 3 songs on. It's like, well, that's not much of a mixtape if I'm just taping the entire album.
Yeah.
Yeah, Together Forever, and the only thing that sticks in my mind is the Happy Together by the Turtles.
Oh, that's a good one. So Happy Together. That's good.
We have a together themed tape.
I have the things I was thinking of would be other Stock Aitken Waterman songs.
Well, yeah, because they produced Kylie Minogue early in her career as well, right?
So I'll give you a couple that I'd put in here.
All right.
So they'd for sure Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
I was thinking the Locomotion from that first album, but I prefer the song I Should Be So Lucky, but might not be so big here, but it's a really good song.
Yeah.
And then I would have I Only Want to Be With You, maybe, by Samantha Fox.
Okay.
You Spin Me Round by Dead or Alive.
Are these all...
These are all Stock Aitken Waterman songs. But this is a good one too, coming up. This Time I Know It's For Real by Donna Summer.
Oh.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
It sounds very similar to a bunch of songs.
Yeah, well, that's their sort of...
Yeah, I guess they do kind of sound similar. But the ultimate one is Venus by Bananarama.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so I know they say Never Gonna Give You Up is the Stock Aitken Waterman's their best song.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Venus is really good.
Venus is fantastic.
But they didn't write Venus.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't write You Spin Me Round. And they didn't write The Locomotion.
But they produced these songs,
yeah,
right?
They also didn't write I Only Want to Be With You. Okay, so that's my mixtape.
Yeah, okay. That's a good mixtape.
Yeah. Now I did also, so I've been doing... unfair to you, because I should really tell you what I'm bringing to the table here.
I like the surprise.
Yeah. So I also included the song Universe because I'm going to name some songs that could fit into the Astley verse possibly, or the Astley verse might converge with these other universes.
Yeah.
So I thought about Every Breath You Take for Never Gonna Give You Up, but I don't think that quite fits. But I did think that for Never Gonna Give You Up, because it talks about the other person being hurt, because there's a line there.
Your heart's been aching, but you're too shy to say it.
Yeah. We've known each other for so long. Yes, exactly. And so that would fit in with First Cut is the Deepest, because that's the other person. Maybe they're not ready, even though he's never going to give her up.
Well, so I don't want to dump on you here, Bill, but the way I read this is your heart's been aching. Not that it's aching, hurting, but it's aching, yearning.
Oh,
but
really?
She's too shy to say it.
Oh, man. I totally missed that. That makes a lot more sense. Okay. Never My Love by The Association.
Okay.
Do you remember that song?
Vaguely, yes.
So that's sort of saying the same thing, just a sweeter way. Definitely not as creepy.
Yeah.
And then I was also thinking about another song, but I'm going to save that for later.
Oh.
But there's another one. I'm not done yet. Rock Voisine, I'll Always Be There.
Yes. Okay.
And then maybe Bon Jovi's I'll Be There For You. Yeah. I don't know.
These
5 words.
These 5 words I swear to you.
Yeah.
When you breathe, I want to be the air for you.
Sounds like we might need to do that song.
Yeah, I think we do.
Okay, so there was another song too that I had, but I would want to use this song as a Rickroll opportunity.
Oh, okay.
So if I were to create a Rickroll, that was
Yes.
my other category.
Oh, what song would you Rickroll?
Your Rickroll. So did you want to say anything about song universes, or if I?
No. You did some work on this.
Yeah.
I'm just looking.
You're here for the
I'm just looking into this Starry Night universe sky.
Yeah. Okay, so if I were to create a Rickroll,
Yeah.
I'd want to create it with I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. And what I would do it was with the long version. So you're 11 and a half minutes in, and then Mrs. Loud is saying, sooner or later you'll be screwing around.
Yeah.
And then instead of saying I won't do that, it goes, never gonna give you up, and jumps right. So he'll say I, and then never gonna give you up jumps right in there.
Yeah.
And then just somewhere at the end, it'll just say, I won't do that or something.
I know the territory I've been around. It'll all turn to dust and we'll all fall down. Sooner or later you'll be screwing around.
Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you, never gonna make you cry, never gonna say goodbye, never gonna tell a lie and hurt you. No, I won't do that.
Okay, so I was thinking, like, what song would you create a Rickroll with?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good one. So what do you think?
Just right off the top of my head, because it is such an earworm song, and once it's there, it never goes away. Call Me Maybe.
That's a good call. That's a good one. Let's see.
Carly Rae Jepsen could be the modern day Rick Astley.
Yeah. So we need a car roll. Sounds much more violent.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we'll have to work on that. We got time. We got to let that breathe for another 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so we hit Hallmark movie, definitely.
Yeah, Rickroll himself is a Hallmark movie.
Could you do one of these Rick Astley songs in a talent show?
Yes, absolutely.
And I say absolutely because I did do this song in a talent show.
did you?
Yeah, so
Wow.
when I heard the song, I decided I would perform a lip sync of Never Gonna Give You Up.
Did you have the Rick Astley dance down?
I did. I wore a
Nice.
button-down shirt with a t-shirt underneath, of course.
Yeah.
And I did the move where he opens up his jacket and then he dances with his hands and moves
Yeah.
his feet. And so Paul Turnbull and I did it. Paul Turnbull did George Harrison's song.
I got my mind set on you.
Exactly. And I did this one.
Nice.
And so we might have hyped each other, might have been the hype man in the background for each other's
Yeah.
songs. So I did this. And the thing is, it wasn't a talent show. I just volunteered and did it in front of the class. It was not even related to a talent show. It was, all right, this is the end of the
No,
grammar lesson. Bill Hauser's now going to do a lip sync for us.
I felt like back then in the late 80s, he could get away with doing stuff like that as a teacher. Just like, I don't know, I got nothing. Hey kids, who wants to lip sync something?
Yeah, I think, that's... Could you karaoke this?
Yeah, I think I would karaoke if I got the opportunity to. I would. But which one of the three would you do?
I think Together Forever would be easier
Yeah.
because the Never Gonna Give You Up, you got to hit that Never Gonna Give.
Yeah.
But I think we'd have to, we could ask Austin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can Austin lip sync this or not lip sync? Can Austin karaoke this?
Yeah. We also, just other categories, would Chris Newkirk like this song? We've talked to him.
Yeah.
And he's given Rick Astley a pass.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't remember. I mean, it wasn't a glowing review of Rick Astley, but he says like, yeah, I have no problems with him.
Yeah. And the reason, one of the key things is because Rick Astley just did 2 concerts where he did Smith's covers with
That's right. Yes.
the Blossoms.
Yes.
And I watched some of it. It was really good. And so now you realize that, okay, so Rick Astley, he had a band, He liked his brother's music, and his brother's in the Smiths. He loves the Smiths. He just knows all the songs of the Smiths, so he kind of gets this other type of music that wouldn't really fit within the Guilt-Free Pleasure verse.
Yeah.
But he's able to appreciate it, and he had his career, did his thing, but he also appreciates all sorts of music.
Well, part of the whole Rick Astley renaissance that's been happening for, I'm going to say, the last 10 years, he's gone on stage and performed with the Foo Fighters as well, and has gotten good reviews. Like, his voice holds up.
And Kylie Minogue as well did a great job. So you can catch so much of this on YouTube. He's, I'm sorry to my beloved mother-in-law, but you got to give this guy another chance. He seems like a good.
Yeah, he seems like a guy I'd like to have a pint with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He owns a pub in England.
Oh.
I think that might be calling our name.
Yeah. Well, the Guilt-Free Pleasure's on the road.
Yeah. For tour.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just need a couple more listeners.
Yeah.
So you just need to tell 5 of your friends, and they tell 5 of their friends, and so on, and so on. And then we're the biggest podcast in the world. So make it happen for us.
Send it as a chain letter, though.
Yeah.
I want it old school.
Yeah.
Just like it was in grade 5 when I first heard this.
Yeah. So this is a perfect time to bring this to a close. I mean, there's going to be future Rick Astley discussions in the coming months. I think that's for sure. But no, I think we've given people a good taste of the man, the legend, Rick Astley here.
So whenever you need somebody to listen to, he's a good choice. Or is that too deep a cut for an ender?
Well, that's also the name of the album.
Yeah, that was my joke. The ending. Okay, you sign off. You have a way.
No, but yeah, I think we gave you a good taste into Rick Astley here, and here at Guilt-Free Pleasures, we're never going to give you up because we're going to be together forever.
Because it would take a strong, strong man to let us go.
Yes. Have a good evening, everyone, or morning, or whenever it is you're listening to this.